Hey guys, I'm going to do another review, pros and cons about another kit that I picked up. This is a Duratrax cliff climber. It's a 1/14 scale crawler. It's one of the many minis that are out there. The many minis that are out there. A lot of cons on this one. There's some pros, but there's a lot of cons right out of the box. This comes in a ready-to-run version and a almost ready-to-run version, which I believe they call like a pre-built version. But this was the pre-built version, since I like to put my own goodies in there. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the body. Done the water drop effect on this body. Didn't go too crazy with the two-tone paint job. I see a lot of people doing that. I didn't go overboard with the decals. I did put a number on there out of the Traxxas Slash kit that I got. Used Traxxas Slash hood pins just to give it that, you know, more realistic look. The body's pretty nice. The shape of it gives good for some articulation. So that's the body. Now, before I go into anything, all this wiring that's ugly with these spade connectors, the male and females, all this is temporary. All the wiring is temporary. I just hooked this up the way it is to see if I'm going to like this setup, and then when I figure out what I want, I'll trim all the wires shorter, solder them in place, shrink tube, you know, whole 9 yards. Okay, let's start with the tires. This is a really aggressive looking tread pattern. As you can see, it's got some good side bite to it. Really good looking tire, actually. Good soft sticky compound. The rims are okay. I believe this wheel would actually look halfway decent for a like a 1/9 scale crawler, or maybe even a smaller 2/2 crawler, even though these aren't, you know, 2/2. I believe they would look pretty good on like a trail rig or a scale crawler, or a scale trail rig, I should say. Okay, let's go to the steering. The ready-to-run version of this comes with everything. Okay, almost ready-to-run version, the only electronics it comes with for the ready-to-run, the almost ready-to-run, are the motors. They're 380 size motors, and I'll get into those later. So I put on my HS 645 MGs. They're a high torque servo, pretty quick, all metal gears. Well, everybody, you know, knows what one of those are. Plastic links, I'm probably going to make metal ones, but for now, just to save time, I done it like that. As you can see, I did make a new one for the back. Made it out of 632 rod or 832, I can't remember. From the factory, to get the four-wheel steering, they give you a Y connector so you know both servos will work on one channel. What they want you to do is they want you to take the servo arm and flip it upside down where it sticks up this way, and then your arm will come from the servo saver over, and then they actually have a spacer that's like that tall. Well, whenever I went to steer this, it was moving this spacer something awful. I mean, and I actually thought at one time I was going to break the plastic turnbuckles off, but I didn't. So this is why I did this. I'll actually show you what I done on another kit to get the four-wheel steer to work like this. Actually, I'll tell you now. It's called a Punk Rock four-wheel steer unit. I think the website is punkrockrc.com. What it is any 3-channel radio you have, like a a Traxxas TQ3 is the easiest I've found. You know, channel 2, channel 3. Well, actually, channel 1, channel 3. This, you have to do no mods to these, or any 3-channel radio. You wouldn't have to do any mods to get the 4-wheel steering, because this pack makes it do 4-wheel steering for you. No Y connectors, no nothing. Plug, 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 plug. You're ready to go. Now, that's the steering. Let's see. The diffs are locked, front and rear, from the factory. That's a plus. They have plastic gears. You can order metal ones for it. The factory links are the same, made out of the same plastic as the steering links. I can deal with you know, plastic links, since I don't think anybody's really going to be bashing this thing to death. What I will tell you though is you'll notice that I made new lower links. The reason I made these new lower links is because the front and rear differential, if you notice how they're sitting level now, it's because, well, they are sitting level and they should have been from the factory, but they're not. The motor was actually about this high. It was about a ½ inch, almost 3/4 of an inch higher than what it is now. So instead of sitting like this, if this is the back, it was like this, almost on a 45. Actually, I'd say about 35 degrees. Because what they're wanting to do is, if you notice, there's a little bit of clearance issue here with the motor, the bottom of the motor. That's not a huge deal to me. So what a lot of people do is they make longer links for the bottom. It levels these out. It actually makes it steer better, because if your differentials are clocked, instead of your wheel turning left to right, you know, left to right, they're actually turning like this, left and right, but they're wanting to turn down. Instead of level, they're turning on an angle, and actually, like this is turning left and right, like this. When they were clocked, they were like this, trying to turn themselves down into the ground, which gave you a huge problem when you went to turn. And this thing would, you know, it almost lose all power. About the motors, these motors are, like I said, a 380 size motor. They are, I guess they're a CC 5000, which, you know, CC stands for Cliff Climber. So I guess, you know, they recanned this or re-stickered it for the CC. Like I said, it's a 380 size motor. There's not a lot of these motors out there that are really torquey that you need for rock crawling. Now the website says that this thing is all torque. Don't believe the hype. This thing is not all torque. There's 2 different motors that some guys on the internet that I talked to have found that do a lot better than these. One is it's a Holmes 454 motor. It's a longer can. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to relocate the top links from the inside to the outside to give you more clearance for the back of the can.